everybody. You know, it's always really important to sometimes go behind the enemy lines to see what the enemy are talking about, because it gives us a good insight into just how unhinged they are and how far removed from reality they have become. So with that in mind, I thought I'd do something a bit different, and that is just bring up on the screen here the main BBC news portal. I wanted to bring this up just to give you a laugh, really, and also to amuse myself. And as you can see, the BBC lead story, it's all about the Oscars. Yeah, Oscars, an event of monumental insignificance. I reckon the viewing figures for this are going to be the lowest ever. Nobody cares. There's not been any decent movies made, actually, in quite a few years now. So as regards whether Nomadland is the best movie, I couldn't care less. But the BBC, anyway, is doing its very, very best for their Hollywood pals and pushing the notion that, oh, look, we got to be really interested in things like, 13 major looks from the Oscars red carpet. Right, okay, thanks, but no thanks. So we see that story. So I don't know what you reckon anyway. The Oscars, I'm not in any regard interested in the woke Oscars. Essentially, the Oscars is now fundamentally, to my mind, the celluloid arm of Black Lives Matter. So no thanks, Oscars, not for me. What else do we see here? Oh, look, here's a story. Shops, pubs and pools reopen in Scotland. Oh, right, so wee Nicola is letting the pubs reopen, but guess what? Yeah, you can't serve alcohol in them. So that looks pretty good to me, doesn't it? Go to the pub where you can't serve alcohol inside. Great idea. What else have we got here? Well, we've got the usual. Oh, look, patients suffer at home. Let's click on this for the laugh. Oh, patients struggle at home as hospitals choke. Oh, right, this is more Indian COVID fear porn. Yeah, I'm ignoring that one there. I'm not interested in that. I've done a video about that. I'm not interested in facilitating the BBC's propaganda, overt propaganda. Again, another story about it. So look, India, here's another story about India. Do you ever get the impression you're being spoon-fed something, folks? Watch my video on this topic, which will be out today as well, and you'll get a different insight in that one there. Here's one. Older workers see the biggest fall since the 1980s. The pandemic has led to the biggest annual fall in employment for older workers since the 1980s, according to a new report. Apparently, the decline in the unemployment for the over 50s has been twice as big as those aged between 25 and 49. So it looks like the Great Reset is well underway, and if you're over 50, then you are stuffed. If you're over 50s in your 60s or whatever, you're not going to be learning how to code anytime soon. These people are being fundamentally just shuffled out of the work pool. Interesting, because I also think this is the biggest demographic of conservative voters. So if you voted conservative and you're over 50, well, you should reflect on what you've done, because you've actually damaged yourself. But anyway, that's that kind of nonsense story in the BBC. And then it's the usual kind of stuff here. You know, actually, I probably would agree with this. Labour, ministers must reveal COVID contract links. Absolutely, I agree with that there. The amounts of chicanery going on, or alleged chicanery, are quite significant, and Labour are right to demand an inquiry into that. Won't ever happen, of course, and don't forget, Labour's every bit as corrupt as the Conservatives, so we're not going to really learn very much from that, other than the political class can't be trusted. Final story here, Dominic Cummings allegations. Top civil servant to face the MPs. So this is all this ongoing hullabaloo about what's been happening to do with Downing Street and all that stuff about Boris Johnson allegedly saying that he'd rather see bodies pile up in the streets than impose another lockdown. Well, sorry, that was just words, and he did impose another lockdown. So again, I don't take any of that remotely seriously. It is interesting to see Boris versus Cummings, though. I think Cummings is a pretty formidable character, and whilst I don't agree with everything Cummings has said, I believe that a lot of you may share my concerns regarding Boris Johnson, and not just in terms of what he's done regarding the decoration of that flat in Downing Street, but just generally the whole way in which Boris Johnson says one thing and does another. So those would be some of my big concerns about Boris Johnson. And that's been about it, folks. That's as much as I want to talk about with regard to the BBC. But as I say, it does amuse me to sometimes have a look at the kind of the failed agenda that they push out. Also notice in that whole report, they never once mentioned the massive Freedom March in London. Just think about that. The biggest event of the weekend, involving hundreds of thousands of people based on the footage I've seen of it, doesn't get a mention in the BBC, but they want to talk about the Oscars and they want to talk about Indian COVID fear. Those are the things they want to talk about. Remember, if you heard it in the BBC, it really wasn't worth hearing. Listen, thanks very much for your support. Hope you keep enjoying me here on YouTube, but do go to my other platform and brand YouTube in particular to get exclusive content. The decision is yours, however. Thanks very much. Let me know what you think about these topics in the comment thread below, and I'll catch up with you folks real soon.